Welcome back. We're on lunch. Chapter 5. Then the prophets, Haggai, the prophet, and Zechariah, son of Iddo, prophesied to the Yahudim who were in Yehuda and Yerushalayim, in the name of the Allah of Israel upon them. Then Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Yeshua, son of Yotzadak, rose up and began to build the house of Allah which is in Yerushalayim. And the prophets of Allah were with them, helping them. At that time, Tattenai, the governor beyond the river of Shethar Bezonai, and their companies came to them and said to them, "Who has made you a decree to build this house and to complete this wall?" Then we told them what the names were of the men who were building this building, and the eye of their Allah was upon the elders of the Yahudim, so that they could not make them cease until the matter went to Dereyavesh. And when they sent back a letter concerning this, this is a copy of the letter that Tattenai, governor beyond the river, had sent, and Shethar Bozani and his companions, the officials beyond the river, to Dereyavesh, the sovereign. They sent a letter to him, and this was written in it: to Dereyavesh, the sovereign, all peace. Let it be known to the sovereign that we went into the province of Yehuda to the house of the great Allah, which is being built with heavy stones, and timber is being laid in the walls. And this work goes on speedily and is blessed in their hands. Then we asked those elders, saying this to them: "Who made you a decree to build this house and to complete these walls?" And we also asked them their names in order to inform you, so we could write the names of the men at their head. And this is the answer they gave us, saying, "We are the servants of the Allah of heaven and earth, and we are rebuilding the house that was built many years ago, which a great sovereign of Israel built and completed. But because of our fathers provoked the Allah of heaven, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and Castaya, who destroyed this house and exiled the people to Babel. But in the first year of Koresh, sovereign of Babel, Koresh, the sovereign, made a decree to build this house of Allah, and also the gold and silver utensils of the house of Allah, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the Hekal that was in Yerushalayim and brought to the Hekal of Babel. Those sovereign Koresh took from the Hekal of Babel, and they were given to one named Sheshbazzar, who he made governor, and said to him, "Take these utensils, go, deposit them in the Hekal in Yerushalayim, and let the house of Allah be built on its place." Then the same Sheshbazzar came, laid the foundation of the house of Allah, which is in Yerushalayim, and since that time even until now it has been in building, and it is not completed. And now, if it seems good to the sovereign, let a search be made in the sovereign's treasure house, which is there in Babel, whether it is so that a decree was made by sovereign Koresh to build this house of Allah at Yerushalayim, and let the sovereign send us his decision concerning this. And Dereyavesh, the sovereign, made a decree, and a search was made in the house of the books, wherein also the treasure of Babel were kept. And at Metha, in the palace which is in the province of Media, a scroll was found, and this was written in it: in the first year of sovereign Koresh made a decree concerning the house of Allah at Yerushalayim. Let the house be built in the place where they brought offerings, and its foundation strongly laid, its height 60 cubits, its width 60 cubits, 3 rows of heavy stone, and 1 row of new timber. Let the expenses be paid from the sovereign's house. And let the gold and silver utensils of the house of Allah, which Nebuchadnezzar took from the Hekal, which is in Yerushalayim, and brought to Babel, be returned and go to the Hekal, which is in Yerushalayim, to its place, and deposit them in the house of Allah. Now, Tattenai, governor beyond the river, and Shethar, Bozenai, and your companions, the officials beyond the river, stay away from there. Leave the work of this house of Allah alone. Let the governor of the Yahudim and the elders of the Yahudim build this house of Allah on its place. And I make a decree as to what you should do for the elders of these Yahudim, for the building of this house of Allah. Let the exact expense be paid to these men from the sovereign's resources, out of the taxes beyond the river, so that they are not stopped. And whatever they need, both young bulls and rams and lambs for the ascending offering of the Allah of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the request of the priests who are in Yerushalayim, let it be given them day by day without fail, so that they bring pleasing offerings of the Allah of heaven, and pray for the life of the sovereign and his sons. And I make a decree that whoever changes this word, let a timber be pulled from his house, and let him be impaled and hanged on it. And let his house be made a dunghill because of this. And Allah, who has caused his name to dwell there, does overthrow any sovereign or people who put their hand to destroy this house of Allah, which is in Yerushalayim. I, Dareyavesh, make the decree, let it be done promptly. Then Tattenai, governor beyond the river, Shethar, Bozenai, and their companions promptly did according to what Dareyavesh the sovereign had sent. And the elders of the Yahudim were building, and they were blessed through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah son of Iddo. And they built and finished it according to the decree of the Allah of Israel, and according to the decree of Koresh and Dareyavesh and Artsashashta, sovereign of Persia. And this house was completed on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of sovereign Dareyavesh. Then the children of Israel, the priest and the Levites, and the rest of the sons of the exile, did the dedication of this house of Allah with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of Allah 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and as a sin offering for all Israel, 12 male goats according to the number of the tribes of Israel. And they appointed the priests to their divisions and the Levites to their division over the service of Allah in Yerushalayim, as it is written in the book Moshe. And the sons of the exile performed the Pesach on the 14th day of the first new moon, for the priests and the Levites had cleansed themselves. All of them were clean, and they slew the Pesach for all the sons of the exile, and for their brothers and the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel who had returned from the exile ate together with all who had separated themselves from the uncleanness of the nations of the land in order to seek Jehovah, Elohim of Israel. And they performed the festival of Matzah, 7 days with joy, for Jehovah caused them to rejoice and turned the heart of the sovereign of Ashur toward them, to strengthen their hands in the work of the house of Elohim, the Elohim of Yisrael.